So today we are here with a very important guest. She's a successful Amazon entrepreneur, a person that helped several of Amazon sellers plan for the perfect exit of their business, a co-host of the Amazing Exits podcast, a person of a great knowledge and wisdom. Together, let's learn from Kellianne started their Amazon journey, how she successfully exited, and how she's currently leading other entrepreneurs towards success. Kellianne, if I missed anything in your introduction, please let me know.
Wow,
And
you're making me blush, Tomer. I feel so privileged with that introduction. So thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for being here. Could you share a little more about yourself, your background? What are you currently working on?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a recovering attorney, practiced civil litigation for 10 years, and then started a family and left that career behind. And I got into e-commerce I would say, around 2013. I started with online arbitrage and, started really seeing success with that. And then it was just around that time where a very popular course called The Amazing Selling Machine came out, all about how to launch and scale a brand utilizing the Amazon channel. So I jumped on that. I launched my brand in 2014 and pretty quickly grew that to a seven-figure business and ran that business for several years, mostly as a lifestyle business. But the last couple years before I actually exited, I knew that I wanted to cash out and take my big payday, because your biggest payday really comes when you sell your business, not while you're running your business. So I became obsessed with learning about how to plan the perfect, most amazing exit, meaning getting the terms that I wanted, selling to the buyer that I wanted, getting the price that I wanted. Really had such a wonderful journey learning about that world, and it inspired me to start the Amazing Exits podcast with my co-host Paul Miller. We launched that in September of 2020. And, during that time, I've been able to, meet so many wonderful thought leaders and guests, not only on Amazon, how to scale on Amazon, but also how to exit. And during that time, I ended up just recently taking a position with a new startup who is going to make a big splash any day now in the Amazon aggregation scene. We have $100 million in private equity funding, and our founders are pretty top notch. So stay tuned on that, but I'm working closely with them. My personal goal is just to help as many Amazon sellers become true millionaires as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, with the questions I'm going to ask you here, it will help educate more people and prepare for exiting and understand better the process. You mentioned something about like the payday, and that Amazon sellers. It's not related to the questions I prepared, but I'm curious to we hear from you how you look at this topic. But you said you get the money and the payday, but while you work on your business, you kind of reinvest everything back. That's what you meant, right? And
Yeah, I mean, ideally to grow an e-commerce business, it's so cash intensive that ideally you want to be plowing all of your profits back into the business. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't taking a salary. I was taking a salary, but yes, all the profits were reinvested, and that's still not enough, right? You still need another source, to grow and to scale. You typically are going to need some sort of financing, whether it's inventory financing. There's so many capital growth solutions now for Amazon sellers. We've interviewed a bunch of them on the podcast.
Mhm.
So either taking on debt financing or an equity partner to really grow and scale is pretty much a necessity. And
Yeah.
so you're not realizing those profits as you go along, but you're building an asset, a very valuable asset that you can sell for that big payday someday.
Yeah, yeah. And I was, when I recently read that the book Profits First, it was conflicting with what I did, what I heard all, from everyone, that you have to really put everything back. And that's what I did. Sometimes not even taking salary. But, I think that what he is mentioning in the book Profits First, I don't know if you read it, but
Yes, I have. It's an excellent book, and I agree with it wholeheartedly.
it's hard
I
to
just think that if
actually do it, right?
Yeah, to actually be disciplined enough to do it. And again, you're not going to reach the same sort of scale as if you were to reinvest. But
Yes.
again, there are a lot of capital growth funding solutions
Mm.
now for Amazon sellers. So you can definitely, it's possible to grow your business with debt financing.
Yeah.
And you just have to make sure that the numbers all pencil out for you, because there's a lot of good programs and there's a lot of bad programs out there.
Yeah, I actually uploaded my latest video on my YouTube channel is about leveraging credit cards. That's how I was and still operating the business. And it's, if
Wow.
you use it correctly, like, it could be very cheap money comparing like a
Yeah, there's a
normal.
lot of sellers that do that. And I
Yeah,
know, I know from my real estate investing, I have one resource where
yeah,
they help you for a fee, basically get up to, I think, $250,000 in zero interest. And you just keep doing that over and over again. Is it something like
yeah,
that?
yeah. It's really
Yeah.
cool. It's really cool. Great. So I'm not sure where I heard you saying that one of the podcasts that you were a guest, but in just 3 months you were able to increase the value of your products like to 7 figures in revenue. Is that correct?
You mean my business?
The first Amazon business that you had, you were able like in 3 months to get into 7 figures?
It wasn't quite 3 months. I would say it was more like, let's see, it was August, and then that Q4, I hit seven figures.
August. Yeah.
And the only reason I was able to do that is because I had developed very early on a great relationship with my Chinese supplier, and they were willing to fund me. I just took a huge gamble and just ordered a ton of inventory for that first Q4, and the gamble paid off. So I would never have been able to do that without getting basically financing from my supplier, which is not
Gotcha.
typical that early on in a relationship.
It's not typical a lot. So what was different? Because for me, only now, after almost 2 years, there were like one of the suppliers that I work with, my biggest supplier, only now gave me like payment terms, and even with the payment terms are not that great. So I'm curious, like what kind of tips you can share to build this relationship?
Uh, I think, okay, first, so for my story, it was very unique. I think I just got really lucky. I actually found my first supplier, like most people do, on Alibaba. And I really did a good job at selling myself on being a really good marketer and knowing the Amazon platform. Obviously, back then, there were not probably hardly any Chinese manufacturers selling direct on Amazon. So I really made a pitch to him, and I even put together a small little pitch deck, basically like that you would do for an investor, right?
Mhm.
Finance this inventory and I'm going to sell through all of it. And so really just salesmanship. And I suggest that, it's never too early to ask. So once you start a relationship with supplier, keep asking them, but don't just ask them without showing them anything. I mean, put together a business plan, put together an inventory forecasting and actual business plan and sales strategy. And show them, the profit that you can make them over the course of a year, and then negotiate for a year's worth of inventory, possibly, rather than just, ordering every quarter or whatever. I think that there's, a lot of concessions that Chinese suppliers have had to make, as of late. And I think that it's very doable. And there are even sourcing companies like my good friend Afalabi, who owns a company called Hanu Worldwide, actually with Norm Farrar. Like they can help you do this. They can help you negotiate these types of things. So
Yeah.
it's, it's dependent on every relationship. Of course, meeting in person is super important. I didn't meet my supplier in person then. I since met him. I've been to China several times. Obviously that
Mhm.
solidified and strengthened the relationship. And he was with me through the whole course of my business. So, I really do think it was luck, but I think that everybody should at least try.
Yeah, actually, when you said that, I don't think it's luck. And what I see while you talk is that, you came into Amazon business, but you kind of having all these skills of an entrepreneur. Like you mentioned business plan, but most people don't approach it like that. And I see this with many successful sellers that maybe you see their success on Amazon, but no one is really talking about what they did before and all the background, all the other skills that they have that make them be successful on Amazon. And I think that new sellers, they really should really build these business skills. Maybe not before starting, but while they build their business, always like build this kind of skills of like business plan, organization, how to monitor, how to look at your numbers, financing. and people don't pay enough attention to this, but this is what makes the success, I think. But
You
what
are
do you think about
absolutely
that?
right. Oh, those are such great points. I couldn't agree more. And it's not to say that you have to have a degree in finance or business. I mean, I happen to have my undergraduate degree was in international business, but nothing in my college career prepared me to learn how to, be a sourcing expert or product design and development or online marketing. I mean, those are all things that I taught myself, but I think everybody has their unique skill set that they take from whatever their background is. So for me, being an attorney, I was very analytical. So I'm able to look at, a large amount of data and be able
Mhm,
to boil it down to like, action steps. So
mhm.
that's my special sauce. My special sauce really wasn't marketing. I taught myself that. So everybody has some special sauce that they can leverage in this business. And I think to your point, they should identify it and leverage that to the best of their ability.
For sure, couldn't agree more. Great value here that you provide. And so have you I'll ask you now more about like the exits,
Sure.
and about like more Amazon. To the next question, have you had any previous like experience about exits, or this, like when you sold your Amazon business, it was the first time like dealing or hearing like about this thing that people buy online businesses?
That was my first time selling a business, and it definitely was a huge learning curve and learning experience. And since then, I have become a student of exit planning, and I like to think that I've got my master's degree in it now, because I might not have exited a ton of businesses, but I've interviewed a ton of people that have interviewed a ton of or have sold a bunch of businesses, and all the brokers that I've spoken with and become friends with, and M&A advisors and M&A attorneys and accountants and everybody that you would need in your exit team or your exit
Yeah,
arsenal. Like, I've learned about it and made it a point to learn everything that I can about it. So I do feel very well suited to be able to now share this knowledge with others and hopefully help them in their journey, because there's so much information and courses and trainings, masterminds on how to sell on Amazon, but there's really no, one-stop shop place to go to for content on how to exit an Amazon business. And so I really identified that as the need in the marketplace. And of
for
course,
sure.
since then, especially with 2020, it's been the M&A gold rush, all these acquirers or aggregators coming onto the scene. Everybody's talking about exiting now, and
Yeah,
every Amazon influencer out there is talking about it and acting like they know the ins and outs, and a lot of them have never sold a business before. So I get very territorial over the topic, and certainly I want to continue learning. I don't know everything, but I really do make it a point to, again, like gather all the data and the information and hopefully be able to share that with others.
yeah. I think you're very lucky. When, like I told you, I don't know if I said it in the recording or before we started, but I was like, I'm still in the process of preparing and selling the business. Um, and when I was thinking to myself what I'm gonna do in the future, one of the things came to my mind is, wow, these people job is really cool. Like seeing other businesses, negotiating, helping others. You can literally like change like someone deal by 300 400K by just bringing your knowledge and what you know to the table. And that's, I think, really something that I want to do in the future. So we'll see, maybe we'll talk in the future.
Oh yeah,
You can
it's a
hire me
lot
as
of
an
fun.
employee.
It's so much fun, and the thing that I love most about what we do with the content we provide on the podcast, and then the clients that we work with on a consulting basis, is helping them identify just those maybe 2 to 3 levers in their business that they can work on over the next year or two to really amp that exit valuation, right? By possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that is such a gratifying feeling to be able to help
Yeah,
somebody to do that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's a great space to be in, and it's the future. I mean, there's a reason why all of these private institutional investors have poured billions of dollars into these aggregators to acquire these types of businesses, right? It's a hot market.
for sure. Yeah, thank you for that. Now, how did you sell your business? Did you list it somewhere? Did you have someone that broker, or what was the
Yes.
Like,
So
how did you start?
I used an investment banking firm, which is not the same as a broker, and I'll kind of share the difference between them. But I did hire them as my intermediary to represent me to sell the business. So much as you would engage a broker, I engaged an investment banking firm called Global Wired Advisors.
Hmm.
And I absolutely made the best decision in doing that. They are top notch. They have come into the lower middle market of the investment banking space into these types of businesses. They generally work with, businesses that are doing, 50, $100 million in revenue a year, which certainly I wasn't at that level. So to get their knowledge and expertise in doing my deal, and I learned so much from them. I'm still so close with all of the principals over there, and I refer them deals all the time, and they are just phenomenal. So, the process of using an investment banking firm is they have deep knowledge and experience and connections and networks in the what's called the investment banking space or the mergers and acquisitions space. And brokers are a little bit more transactional. It's just not as sophisticated as an experience, which it's not to say that a broker isn't the right choice for a certain type of a business. But as the business owner, you need to be able to identify what's going to be the best way to sell my business. Is it self-listing on a site like Flippa, perhaps? Is it selling or listing on another site, or is it hiring a broker, or is it hiring an investment banking firm? So for example, if you are doing at least $1 million in EBITDA or seller's discretionary earnings, you definitely want to, in my opinion, hire an investment banking firm like Global Wired to be able to represent you so that you get your pick of the crop of potential buyers versus doing it yourself. So, we've done lots of content on that topic, and we've brought Chris Schifferling from Global Wired on to Clubhouse and our podcast to talk about kind of the nuances and differences. But, that's
Really
what
cool.
I did to sell my business, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, I'm also working with the investing a banking firm that I think that it's also the right decision, because some people, or you know what, the aggregators way to convince sellers to sell directly to them is that, oh, you skip the fees of the investing of the brokers. But I think at the end of the day, the deals that they can bring you will bring more cash at the end of the day, rather than you do it directly with an aggregator. That's what I think.
It
And
depends. It depends on the type of buyer that you're looking for your business. And again, that's another thing that we work on with exit planning. Like, are you looking for to sell your business to an aggregator? If you're looking to sell your business to an aggregator, that's fine. And you very well could do it directly by yourself and save yourself that commission fee.
don't you think that you can get much more value because you have someone behind you that know everything, dealing directly with an aggregator or negotiating, rather than you that know nothing about it? Like for me, I knew nothing about exiting.
Exactly.
And
And that's where most people are. But if you're educated, if you listen to a podcast like Amazing Exits and become educated and take our intentional growth course, you'd be pretty well armed to do it on your own. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that what we do with our clients is really try to figure out a customized plan that's going to work for them. And some people feel very comfortable with just having, you always have to have a good mergers and acquisitions attorney representing you and a good tax advisor. But some people feel comfortable selling directly to an aggregator
yeah,
without representation, from a broker or from an investment banking firm.
Mhm.
But if somebody has like no time to educate themselves, then absolutely. I would say you need to hire a broker or an investment banking firm, depending on, the level of your business.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. What were the struggles that you had, or had, having, or from hearing from people preparing the business to be sold? Um, I know that it sounds like easy, but it's a lot of work to prepare for an exit, all the numbers, all the strategies, and sticking to it. But want to hear from you, someone that have much more experience than I on this.
It is. I like to say that it's two full-time jobs while you are preparing for your exit and then going through, getting your business ready for sale, actually listing it for sale or putting it out to the market, getting offers, accepting an offer, going through due diligence. All the while, you need to keep your foot on the gas and your hand on the steering wheel of your business and be operating that at peak performance. you do not want to let up. I mean, you want to be still continuing to operate that business as best as possible and driving as much profit as possible. And then all the exit stuff is another job, right?
Yeah.
So my best piece of advice, and something that I struggled with, is to, whether you're year 1 in business or year 5, is to systematize your business as much as possible. Get SOPs in place, get an operations manual, if you will, so that when you go to transfer your business, it's turnkey. I mean, you can literally hand this manual, this system of SOPs over to somebody. And so I'd love to just tout my good friends, Yoni Kosminski and Lippy over at Escala. They are brilliant when it comes to helping Amazon sellers scale their businesses through systems and processes and people. And they also have a agency called Escala that helps with hiring talent. They do everything through the Philippines. And so I'm just giving them a shout out, because I think so many Amazon entrepreneurs and e-commerce entrepreneurs, we are solopreneurs. We get lost in the weeds. You're putting out fires. You're working on urgent but not important tasks most of the time. And the more systematized your business is, and it's running like a well-oiled machine, the more you'll really be able to put into the exit planning portion to make sure that you get maximum value.
I can't agree more than that with you. And I actually put a lot of work and emphasis on like hiring and outsourcing, and it's something I'm really passionate about, because you can find really amazing people in the Philippines for really fraction of the cost. Like you'll find them here, but you have to do it the right way. So either work
Exactly.
with
Exactly.
an agency or someone that helps you, guide you, or you suffer like I did with like 40 or 50 VAs that I hired, and I learned with failure, and the problems that I had. But definitely you have to systemize the business. I when I started the business, I don't know where I heard it, but I remember like a big Amazon influencer that said from day one, prepare your business like you're going to sell it. And that's how I
Yep.
was operating. And really a month or 2 months after every process that I learned, my VA like would put it under the Google site that we created for our SOPs. um, did you have any like one thing that also kind of concerned me, because I got a couple of hours to sell the business, and do you have from your experience or from clients that you're helping like last minute complications or issues that are popping out? Because it's all nice and fun, they give you an offer like 1.5 million, I don't know, like a nice offer, and you're excited, and then it starts like a month or 2 months of this process, and maybe some issues occur. Like share with us like on some last minute issues that come or happens in deals like that.
So from what I'm hearing you ask, you're talking about an LOI has been submitted. So that's a letter of intent. That's an
Yes.
offer. It's been accepted. And now we're in the due diligence phase, and what can go
Yes.
wrong during due diligence. So
Yes.
the first thing is, as I mentioned earlier, is the owner taking their foot off the gas. And if their business isn't systematized and they're just scrambling and running around all the time,
Okay.
trying to run the
Yeah.
business, a lot of things can happen. Things can happen like listing suspensions or her account suspensions. There's a whole plethora of things that could go wrong. So the more organized your business is, the better. And there's also the risk, of course, that during that due diligence period that you're, hopefully you're still growing and showing that profit trend is going up. If you start to decline for whatever reason, like if you go out of stock, if you're not managing your inventory correctly, those are just a few of the things. But a buyer wants to see a steady, reliable, transferable cash flow stream. That's what they're buying. And they want to be able to increase that. So all of your efforts need to be supporting that and making sure that by the day that you close that transaction, they are getting that solid income stream that you promised, that they didn't find anything in due diligence. But a lot can go wrong in due diligence, and that's where deals go to die. Because, for example, if you made misrepresentations and now they're confirming that they are misrepresentations, then you're going to lose trust, and that's going to kill the deal. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. So be very upfront, be very honest.
Yes.
And what I loved about the process that I went through with Global Wired is we did all of our due diligence up front. So they created a data room and had me gather everything I would need before we even went to market. So then that when we did go to market, everything was there that a potential buyer was going to want to see. And when we did get to due diligence, finally, it was all ready. So it wasn't like this mad rush at the end to get everything together.
Yeah, I feel also something came up to my mind, but when I said that I think it's better to deal with investing or broker or someone that represent you rather than the aggregators, because most of the sellers, they get approached by those aggregators. They're not ready to sell, they're not prepared, and then they come with offer, and then they're not having their SDE like correctly, the numbers are not matching, and then they are doing mistakes that are, could be potential like loss of hundreds of thousands, or it depends on the size of the business, of course. But I feel that, if, like you said, you guys prepared everything before, you had the numbers, the due diligence, everything is ready, so there are no surprises. um but yeah, that's something that I did while I was getting offer. Okay, let's do quick the SDE numbers and see what it was personal, was not, and everything was very stressful. So I think it's better to be prepared, ready, and only then like do it. And I'm going to listen to your podcast, to all of them backward, to make sure that I get all these.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get some nuggets from there. And you're so right. It's like, you know, I know so many Amazon entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs that started this business for financial freedom and for lifestyle freedom, right? And a lot of us have attained that financial freedom, meaning that we're creating a cash flow stream for ourselves that can support our families or our desires every day. But they're working like crazy. They're working 100 hours a week. They're always stressed out, and I know me personally, like my business was 99% all on Amazon. And so once you start getting to a certain level in revenue, and also with, inventory that you've financed or that you've purchased that you haven't sold through yet, it's a big risk factor in your, family's balance sheet. One of my primary motivating factors for selling was simply to de-risk. I mean, Amazon could have shut down my account and I'd be done, right? So this was, and I'm not saying like live in fear, but there is a lot to be said for financial security. When I sold my business, I sold it for 7 figures, but for me, it was not financial freedom money. This was money to basically de-risk, to have financial security, and for me to start my next venture, right? So taking chips off the table is how I like to look at it.
Funny, I look at it exactly. That's the exact way I described it to my wife. I'm not selling because I don't believe in the brand, or I don't think I can grow it faster, but to really lower my risk and then reinvest because I have other brand. And I think that with your second brand, because you already not really financially free, but secured yourself with this money, you can take more risk. You have more tolerance
Exactly.
to grow it and have more patience. And that's my plan. So it's funny that you mentioned, like, it's the exact way I'm looking at it right now. I didn't
Exactly.
sell
And
my business.
one thing I would love to mention here, and again, we will be going public very soon, but the acquirer that I'm working with, we take a very different approach, and we want to partner with our founders. So founders who are getting tired of that risk, looming over them when they go to sleep at night, of Amazon shutting them down or all the debt that they've taken out to finance the business. It's like, we want to be able to come in and work with you and have you continue to run the business if you want to, and work with us, and to continue to learn and to grow and start new brands and all of that, and be able to foster all of that. So we don't look at it as a transaction. We really look at it as a long-term partnership.
Mhm, mhm. That's good. Did you already know what you're going to do the day after you're selling? Because like I know that I'm thinking about this a lot for my plan. So I kind of prepare to sell, but I also prepare for the day after what I'm going to do. I don't
Absolutely.
want to just like wake up at 12 and just do nothing, you know?
Well, I took a vacation. That was the first thing.
You took a
A
vacation.
celebratory vacation to Mexico with my husband. So that definitely, I
Nice.
mean, I definitely urge anybody that sells their business, like, revel in it. Don't just go right back into something the very next day, like you,
Yeah.
Tamer. I would still say take at
No,
least a
no,
week
you need a little
vacation, right?
break. Yeah.
But yes, I did. I knew when I was going through the process that I wanted to be in the mergers and acquisitions space for Amazon businesses and helping Amazon entrepreneurs. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know what shape it was going to take. Initially, I thought I would just, because I had always done consulting during my, while I was building my brand, just like you and so many others that we know, we have knowledge, people come to us, you help them build their brand. So I love helping other people. So I always was doing that. So I just figured, you know what, I'll just be a consultant. And then, oops, sorry about that. Then my friend, Paul Miller, he, is also planning for his exit. And we've been friends for many years, and I know his brand intimately and helped advise him on his brand. And so he said, wouldn't it be cool if we started a podcast about this topic? You've already exited. I'm planning for my exit. We could track that and meet with all these experts and interview them. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we launched the podcast. And then since then, I've just been exposed to so many different types of opportunities and met so many wonderful people in the mergers and acquisitions field. And so many opportunities opened up from there. As I said, I'm working directly with a new aggregator. So it's been life-changing, and it just all goes to show you that when you put value out into the world, like our podcast, obviously it's just value, it's just content, right? Like good things will come. And like I said, I'm so passionate about helping people reach, financial freedom, whether it's through one or multiple exits. For some people, they can sell their business and probably be financially free. But most entrepreneurs want to keep doing something, right? It's not just about having that money in the bank. It's about being able to do something and contribute something to the world. So that's what I'm really passionate about helping people do.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I encourage everyone again, like go to amazing Amazon Exits. That's the name of the podcast.
Amazingexits.com.
Okay, amazingexits.com.
Yes.
So, we like I said, usually the interviews I do are a little longer, and I want to change it to keep it more engaging. So I'll ask you one last question.
Sure. And I can always come back too,
Yeah, for
if
sure.
you'll have me.
Yes, for sure. I'm sure we have many. I have actually here on my list more questions, but like I said, I'm trying to keep it shorter this time.
Yeah.
And what are your plans for the future? Where you see yourself in like 5 years?
Oh, 5 years. Well, I'm always going to be doing something entrepreneurial, always building something or helping somebody else build something. So I love helping people build and scale businesses. And I love taking, like, for example, I have a really good friend here in town. She owns a fabulous spa, and I spend a lot of time there doing self-care, and I'm helping her to develop an e-commerce, component to that brand. So that's a real passion of mine, is just whether it's building my own brand or helping others, but obviously working with this new startup that I'm working with. We have a very audacious but attainable goal to be a multi-billion-dollar company in short order. So that's going to be taking up most of my bandwidth, along with continuing on with the Amazing Exits podcast. And then, on a personal note, my husband and I are planning to move and become expats, move to Playa del Carmen, Mexico within 4 years after our kids graduate from high school. So we bought a house there, and that's going to be our place that we can work from anywhere and, enjoy life. But I'll always be working to the day I die.
That's really cool that you actually like bought a house there and you plan to move. It's already like moving, so we have a plan.
Yes.
Um, my dream is to live in Costa Rica and just surf.
Ah,
That's
yep.
you can do it
Well,
in Mexico too, though.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Costa Rica is wonderful too. And my family, all except for me, they all surf. So, surfing's a big thing for us too.
Yeah, California, right?
Hmm.
That's good. Anyway, it was really pleasure having you. Thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge. Like I said, I have much more questions, and definitely you should be here a guest again in the future if you would love to be here again.
I would love that. We have to have you on the podcast too.
Thank you so much. And to those again that want to reach out to you or find about you, amazingexit.com. That's the amazingexits.com. That's the podcast.
Yes.
But other than that, is there anywhere else they can reach out to you?
Sure. You can reach me on social media at Kellianne Fedio, KELLIANNE on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram.
Great. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap it up?
No, I would just love it if people would, subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating or review. We'd really appreciate that. And, I try to make myself available to talk to as many entrepreneurs as I can. So definitely feel free to reach out.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put also links down below in the description of this video so you can get to reach her quicker. And thank you again, Kellyanne. You have a great day and good luck with the new startup that you're working on. I'm sure they have you on the side. You will be able to reach the 3 years goal you mentioned. And I can't wait to see the results.
Oh, thank you so much, Tamara. This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to coming back.
Thank you very much. Take care.